Righto, here we are again, back in the shed. This video is going to be about the reassembly of the oil and water pump. I was actually going to just lay everything out in a sort of almost an exploded view, but before I can do that I actually have to remove this. That's the old seal. That's this old ceramic seal. I'll show a bit later on, but these seals actually come in two parts. They're there's a ceramic part that fits in there, and I hadn't actually been able to get that out, so I just thought while I'm here I'll show you. I actually just got this a punch and just basically shattered the ceramic like you're breaking a little dinner plate or something. Yeah, it's been a while since my last video. I've had well, I got the CNC plasma cutter going. I've been playing with that a bit and had some family come out visit, so I've been out and about, yeah, doing everything but the Cerbera. So yeah, today hopefully I'll have a video for you showing the basically the exploded view of the oil and water pump and reassembly. GoPro stop recording. Righto, so I think I've got this worked out, so I'll go through it and then at the end I'll talk about an issue. Alright, so you got your I was doing that thing with the light again. Yeah, so you got your front housing here. In there goes this seal with the lip here facing forwards, and then on top of that you press in your bearing. Then you flip this over. Inside here, I haven't cleaned this up yet, but goes your little bushing. And then this is your two-part ceramic seal. That goes there, that piece. And then this is your ceramic part that pushes into the impeller, like so. Then around here, you have a one of these big O-rings. And around here you have another big O-ring, and then this is your two-piece ceramic seal, basically the same as this one. If you've never seen these before, they're kind of weird. They're basically you got a ceramic lip there, and this thing here is kind of spring-loaded, like it goes on a sort of a kind of got a shaft or like a sleeve there with a seal, I guess some sort of an O-ring type seal in the center. It allows for a little bit of movement. I don't know that it actually moves, but and then on the other end there you got a rubber seal with a ceramic face. So the two ceramic faces basically just slide against each other. Now I'll get back to this in a minute. There's an O-ring that goes here. Then if you come over here, yeah, ceramic seal again, and then going into here you've got another seal. Now this one, yeah, believe that faces, yeah, your lip with the spring faces in, because this is the oil pressure. The oil pumps can have more pressure than the water, so yeah, you want that the pressure there to be pushing the lip up against the shaft. Then in here you have your the impeller, the pump arrangement. You got a line. It's a bit hard to do in the bag, but yeah, I think you can see that there. There's basically a dot-to-dot type arrangement, and there's a Woodruff key in there. Now at this end you have another bearing. Oh, that boy goes in there from this direction, and then you have another seal, and then you have a circlip. Now mine, when I pulled it apart, actually had this washer, real thin washer there, which isn't mentioned in the manual. And then the oil pump. If this part here, if you read the manual, it assumes this is in two parts, but I couldn't get this apart, and I couldn't see the benefit of sort of heaving on it and putting it in the press, and I couldn't see any easy way to press it apart. And yeah, it just didn't sort of strike me as worthwhile. It didn't seem worth the risk. Yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. But now the issue I've got is, take that out, and I'll flip this over. When you slide this onto here, it's a loose fit, but these are the original seals I pulled out, and they're all exactly the same size. That's that one there, and the OD of each one of these is different, so they can only go in one place. Now all I can think is that somehow this seal sealed on the O-ring, which is seems rather strange to me, but as I said, the one I pulled out is the same. Now the O-ring I got in the kit, in my box of parts, is yeah, that's tiny. That's not going to go on there. So, and then but then the next size up, maybe I've missed. I will double check, but yeah, well, those O-rings are a different size, and yeah, one of them's for this. And then of course you have this is the infamous pressure relief spring setup that goes in there, that sits on top, that pushes in there, and this bad boy screws on like that with its copper washer that needs a clean up. So my next step is I'm going to have to suss this out, like, because it looks, yeah, like this seals on the O-ring. So I've got a great big collection of O-rings here. It either seals on the O-ring, or this is just for show, and it just relies on the, it's got this seal here anyway. So that makes me think, well, maybe it just relies on this, and yeah. Anyway, see what happens. It won't be going back, well, the motor won't be going back in the car for a little while. So people have got time in the comments section to tell me that I did it wrong, and I can pull it apart. But right now I'm going to have a look at my O-ring collection and see if I can get something that feels like it might seal. Righto, so as I suspected, there was something obvious that I was missing. Once I've cleaned up this little bushing here, it looks like that bushing sits like so up against the O-ring. I've got my new O-ring there, and the seals on that. So yeah, so this, imagine this bearing's on this side, but that actually presses on, but that bearing sits about there. So the shaft, the bushing and the O-ring all spin with the shaft, and the seal stays put, and it's sealing, well, see, it's stuck in there like so. That's how that works with this bad boy. Yeah. Why is the camera doing that? Yeah, with that, basically, well, it doesn't want to push over that O-ring. But anyway, that's how that goes. Righto, so here's where I'm at. I've got my, why does that camera do that? Yeah, this is the front housing. I've got my bearing pressed in. The seal is in there. And then now I've got my two-piece mechanical seal with the little bushing in the middle. And then here I've gently pushed in my ceramic seal. Got my little O-ring here. Now I've got this rubber O-ring here on the outside, but I think I'm going to use just a little bit of, yeah, this is the stuff. This is a non-drying gasket glue. Just put a tiny smear on there just to hold it in place, because it, I don't know if you can see that there, but it, oh, maybe it'll be alright. Yeah, it seems to, yeah, it seems to want to pop out, so I'll probably just put a tiny smear of this non-hardening gasket glue. This is what the stuff you use on motorbike cases, you know, so actually I think I've got thread sealant, Loctite flange sealant. Yeah, I'll put a tiny bit of that stuff on there just to hold it in place while I'm doing it. And yeah, the next step, so I'll take the custom mandrel, which I think is code for a long socket, and that's actually got to be pressed, well, that's got to be pressed onto there. So that'll be the next step. Righto, so here's where I'm at. I've pressed the bearing in, and I've pressed this shaft onto the, well, this front bit, this front cover here. Yeah, onto the shaft. Using, yeah, the inner edge there. And so yeah, now as you can see here, I've used my my sort of water sandblaster thing. Take this out here. The camera really does not like the artificial light in this shed. But yeah, this is my little water blaster eBay thing. You got this end here, it goes in your bucket of sand, and it draws up through that hose. It's disconnected at the moment, but it goes on there. But it actually does a I did the front end of that impeller there. It's actually just, I actually heated it up to dry it, so it's just got a tiny bit of surface rust on it. But maybe I need to use this light instead of these ones, so I don't get that black line across the camera. But now I've got this section here. This was all quite pitted, and I've hit this with the water sandblaster thing and just rinsed it all out with soapy water, blasted air through it, so it should be good. So my next step, I've just got to suss out where the, oh yeah, no, that yeah, the next step will be this seal, my two-piece mechanical seal here. Yeah, that's got to go on, and then the O-ring. And I'll probably give this a little bit of a smear of the non-hardening sealant, just because it's got these pitted areas on this side of the housing. Alright, so that's going to be the next step. Oh, and one thing, I had a bit of a heart-stopping moment there when I pressed this front cover on. This was actually seized solid. I thought, oh no, done something terrible here. But I just poured it back in here, got the rubber mallet, basically just sat that like so, gave it a few taps with the rubber mallet, and now it's smooth as silk. So I must have just moved a little bit close so that it was, yeah, locking up. You can see it, the edge of one of the impellers is actually just touching the housing, but I'm pretty sure once I get this back end on with the bearing, that'll stop. This is kind of, there's a little bit of play there, if you can see. And I might try this light. I'm going to have to give this light a try. I'm getting sick of those black lines across my camera. Alright, so back in a minute. So righto, I've got this part of the housing on. Just turn that light down. Yeah, this is all on. It just basically tapped on with a rubber mallet. I put this end piece over the top here and just tapped it on. Alright, so now I've heated this up with my heat gun and put some, oh, alright. I was going to hit it in with a rubber mallet with that, but okay, forget about that. That's the easy way to do it. Alright, I just got to let that cool down. Yeah, let that cool down. Put this seal in. I won't put the seal in now because it'll probably melt. Yeah, righto. Back in a minute. Alright, so I've encountered a little bit of a problem. A bit later at night now, but if we see here, I've got the oil pump housing on there and it spins. I've got the shaft sort of gently clamped in the aluminium jaws there, and this is spinning. But I did do it before where I had this I've dropped the bearing in there now, but I did have that sat on there before and just gently tapped the whole lot down snug with the rubber mallet, and I thought, oh yeah, that's all good. But then I went to rotate it and it was all bound up. Now when you look at this shaft here, I've actually just lubricated that. I put some actual some of this engine assembly grease on there. Excuse me. But she's very tight, so I don't know whether I put an ever so slight bow in this shaft when I press the bearing on the other end. But yeah, I'm wondering whether I've either got to I dare say I'll probably just take a bee stick. I'll end up taking this off and just hone a little whisker out of this housing here, because it doesn't need this section here to seal. There's a seal on the other side, well, two seals. So yeah, just something I wasn't expecting. But yeah, so I'll probably take these out and knock this off again. And yeah, I'll give that a, yeah, see now it's still quite tight. See, now I'm turning and the whole thing's turning. So it's nice tight tolerances there, but hang on, if I just nip that up a whisker, yeah, you can see it. Yeah, there you go. But it's not the oil seal that's binding, the rubber oil seal, and it's not the two-piece ceramic seal that's binding. It's this actual aluminium in the center, so I might get my my little makeshift hone and yeah, give it a hone and see how that goes. Alright, so if some of you may have never seen this before, I don't know whether maybe I'm the only person who does this, but this sort of hone, basically just a dowel with a slot cut through it, with a strip of sandpaper, or wet and dry. Now I've got to hone out that part there, and not obviously the seals and everything are pressed in, so I can't go too far. So I have to be careful here. And obviously once, give it a little bit of a soaking. Obviously once this is done, I'll be I'll be spending a fair bit of time in the kitchen sink with some hot soapy water, flushing this whole thing out. But I only need a bee's dick of clearance, so how's that look? Yeah. Yeah, just kind of moving that around. No, move the camera. Maybe I need to take a bit off the shaft, I don't know. Alright, well the brake cleaner seemed to have done a good job. I don't know if you can see in there or not, but looks clean as a whistle. Alright, so actually go around this side. Maybe I just need to heat it up again. Alright, so just tighten this up. This has got the aluminium soft jaws in it, so it's not hurting anything. Alright, well that's now turning. Man, why is that so tight? Alright. Just throw my little Allen key bolts in there and just to align it. Is it going to work? No. Oh, that's it. There must have just been a little tiny little blemish in there that was stopping it from going all the way through. Now, yeah, that's seated. All right, I'll just nip these. See, there's a trap there. These are actually meant to be 12mm bolts, I think, and these are 16, and they're bottoming out in the thread. So let's have a look at that all like that. Yeah, see, that'll break stuff open. I've actually, hang on, I'll give you a comparison. I replaced the stock bolts with my, if I break that little bit of, yeah, my bolts are a little too long. So I can either run some shorter bolts in there, or, I don't know if you can see me there, can you see me? Yeah, so I can either run some shorter bolts, or maybe I'll run a spring washer underneath. Because I'm not real keen on putting Loctite on these. Well, I am and I aren't. Yeah, it's only a small thread, and this might be a job for tomorrow morning, I think. Alright, well, I'll leave those two in there. But yeah, that's, I'll just show you. If you see that shaft, that's not moving. The whole thing's spinning like it should. Yeah, it's weird. Probably just a little nick or a little divot or something in that housing there. Alright, time for a nap, I think. And then the next step will be putting the oil pump impeller in. And yeah, working out something with these bolts. I don't think I've actually got a great big tray of 6mm stainless, what do they call these? Cap screw, Allen bolts, from the CNC router build. So, but I don't think I have any 12mm stainless, and I do like stainless. So I'm either going to have to, let's have a look right now. Here's my spring washers. I've had this before when you get in that situation where you're tightening a bolt down and you don't know whether it's bottomed out in the bottom of the thread or it's actually compressed, it's actually yeah, pulled in what it is you're trying to bolt up all the way. And let's have a look. Yeah, that feels good. Spring washer and the M16 might be the go. The M6 by 16. Yeah, I think that'll do it. Probably put some anti-seize on there. Anti-seize and the spring washer. Alright, bedtime. Alright, so here we are again. This time going to, well, put the oil pump parts in. Just give them a dosing. The manual says use Vaseline, but this is just engine assembly grease. Now I've got the, it's a bit hard to see, I've got the Woodruff key in there, and I'm hoping that's just gonna, yeah, just like that. Now we'll just spin this around, get it to the widest point. Remember, we got our two sort of dot to dot type arrangement. Right, I suppose I better heap a bit of this in. This is basically just to sort of prime the pump, I guess. Although I imagine oil from the sump will just flow in there. Oh, this is a little tricky to do one-handed. Oh yeah, well, this is the way. Just throw it in there. Alright, so still see our dot there. I'll turn this light on. Straight away we get the black line going on. Alright. Oh, look at that. She's pumping. Grease. Right, let's push that back in there. Get in there. All right, now next step. Alright, time to find my appropriate sized O-ring. Not that one. Maybe that one. Not that one. Right, now since I've got to put this on upside down, I need this thing to stay put, so I'll get my non-hardening sealant out. Yeah, this is pretty much just to hold the O-ring in place. It's not actually sealing the faces, so to speak. And this one almost seems just a whisker too long. Maybe it's not this one. No, it's not that one. Maybe it's this one. Oh, that O-ring seems to be sitting in there. It's now just got to see. I've not sure exactly how much force I'm going to need. Hang on, I might try that. That's a bit better. Yeah. Yeah, not sure how much force I'm going to need here, so I'll just do a bit of a dummy setup. Alright, so that is not going to slide on. It does say press fit in the book, so I guess I shouldn't be surprised. Just get my heat up the centre of that bearing and see if that makes it easy. I don't think it will. I haven't put the actual shaft seal in yet, so Obviously that would be melted if I did. Yeah, all right. I just got to be careful when I do this, because I'll probably heat it up and I'll get the appropriate size socket, which I think I've got here. Yeah, just try hitting it on with a mallet, but I've got to be, because this shaft has the impellers on it and the impellers are pressed on. So if I just hit the shaft and leave this end unsupported, it's gonna push those impellers against the wall of the housing and maybe break something. So I've kind of got to do a bit of a balancing act here. It's not that big a deal, but I'll just wriggle that off. Right, I'll just do the. Alright, it's not hot anymore, so. Well, give me a minute. Right, well that's gone on a bit. Right. Oh, I think I'm going to have to take this to the press. Alright, so that went pretty easy. I haven't pressed it all the way on. Now the shaft is actually up through the bearing. I might have another crack with a rubber mallet, just tapping it on. It took very little force to move it, so there we go. Oh yeah. It's definitely moving. And their O-ring's still sticking in place. I don't know what this looks like on camera, but I'm not really hitting it very hard. Done. Now, might even treat myself to some new nylock nuts. And that's turning. A bit of drag there, as you'd expect with a oil pump full of grease. Right. I know I got some nylock somewhere. Alright, so I found my stash of nylock nuts. Alright, so I've decided what I'm going to do with the bolts here. These are just a 16 miller with a couple of flat washers on them, and I will use Loctite because that's what the manual says, and these things come loose. There are a lot of them you can't really get to once it's in the car, so yeah, 16mm bolt with a couple of flat washers just seems to make the most of the depth of the thread that's there, so I'll run with that. Alright, so that's a bit tight. Just give it a little tap. And she's moving again. Fair bit of resistance there, but I can hear the grease. You probably can't hear that. You can hear the grease in there squelching around. Alright, now this is the oil pressure relief valve. This is the one where people have had the this is the one where people have had the spring go soft, and it just blows open and you don't get enough oil pressure, or you get less oil pressure. We'll give this washer a touch up. A little foam block here. I even break the rules a little and just put a tiny whisker of the non-hardening sealant on there. Anyone with kids will know that sound. Alright, now, those done. Still rotating. Alright, so I've got my seal at the top here. Going to get some random engine oil I've got laying around and just pour that down through the through this bearing here. I think that that running in grease is like glue, so I'll just loosen it up a bit. Oh, well, that was a weird one. The bearing just dropped in there with a bit of heat, but the for whatever reason the seal is just recalcitrant. Now I probably should have shown you first. I just actually, you can see now that the oil's starting to work its way through. They're going to come off here. on my Cerbera. I'll just show you this seals in there. One actually had this real paper thin washer. Now I don't know why that's there, but yeah, I'll throw it back in. Put my circlip in. Now with these things I like to just push down. And just kind of push them into the lip just to make sure it's seated. And that, yeah, that's in there. Just give it a little gentle touch and that's it. So, what's left? We'll flip it over and do these bolts here. And I suppose while I'm here I should talk about, well, the power steering pump that I'm not going to put back on. I've just got it here for show and tell, but is it the key? It's the key still to it there. But yeah, on your normal Cerbera, what happened on mine is this piece here. You see there's a little tiny Allen key there. That's come loose or something on mine, and this actually sort of is meant to sit about there, and on mine it's just basically dropped and it's disengaged these see, they're quite short, those little, I don't know what you call them there, those little lugs. And so I couldn't for the life of me get my hands in there to put it back together. Now, because imagine as it's in the car, you sort of got the engine block coming up here, and then the big lug of a power steering pump there, and yeah, I couldn't get my hands in there. I've since been told by people that it's possible, but yeah, not sure how. I'm sure they're right and I'm wrong, but yeah. Excuse me. Shh. Yeah. So now, well, I'm not going to run this one anyway. I've got all new lines for my electric power steering pump, and it takes a bit of a load off the I've got kids running around doing kid stuff. Yeah, it takes a bit of a load off this shaft, so yeah, you can see that now. That's spinning. Beautiful. Bit of drag there, of course, as I said. That oil I put in starting to work its way through now, making a mess everywhere. So that's just about it. Yeah, just got to do these bolts here, and although I will show you after I've done that, because there maybe it'll start binding more. But anyway, I'll flip her over and I'll do those other bolts. Alright, so I'll put these bolts in. I'll just tell you a bit of a funny story. The other night in my other shed, well, I've got my girlfriend's sisters staying with us at the moment, and their kids. And a little boy, he's I've got a new vice in the other shed, and he's like 5 years old, and I was showing him how to crush bottle tops, crush aluminium cans and whatnot in the vice, and he thought, oh, this is the best game ever, you know, just finding bits of junk for him that he could squash in the vice. Of course, today he's come running out here, seen this vice with the Cerbera pump assembly in it, and thought, oh, this is the same game. So yeah, I had to very quickly tell him, no, this is a different game. Can't crush that. So we could probably get away with only one washer on this. It looks like the threads are... Yeah, the threads are quite a bit deeper here. What have we got there? 16... No, these seem to be about 1 millimetre longer than the stock ones, but probably go another millimetre longer with all the thread that's in there. That's all right. Right, well anyway, unless I can think of something else, that's about it for this video. A bit pressed for time. I've actually got some family stuff tomorrow and for the rest of this break, but next break I'll, I don't know if I told you, I've actually got my valves here and the cylinder heads are at the machine shop. So yeah, next break I'll be putting the motor back together. I'm going to have to pull my finger out and stop playing with that plasma cutter. Next break it'll be the exhaust. I've got to blast and paint and re-wrap. The engine bay insulation and whatnot, I've got to repair that. And then at some point I'm going to have to start looking at put the motor together, time those camshafts, which I'm a little bit daunted by, but I purposely haven't started reading about it in too much detail yet, because but I'm sure I'll be fine. And do something with the clutch. So yeah, alright, till next time, see you later.